Hey, what's going on, everyone? King here, back for another video. Hope everyone's doing well as we get closer to the end of the year and welcoming 2024. So I'm getting back to it. It's been a few days, maybe in a week or so, that I've been out here walking around my neighborhood, get some exercise in. I started a new job under a contract with the Air Force, so I'm working like days and nights. I switch between days and nights every month or so. So I'm trying to get my body acclimated to being on shift work again. And I did it when I was first in the Air Force, first 10 years or so of my career, being on shift, nights and days and swings, or mid shift. And then actually the last part of my career, I also was doing shift work when I, deployed in support of the war on terrorism and everything else. So been there, done that. Now I'm back doing it again, and just gotta get acclimated to doing shift work. But anyway, so I want to get back to talking about my experience dealing with the HEIR property and illegal issues and whatnot. So I guess it's just somewhat of an update to my last video. The videos I made about the legal fights heating up. Now that it's heating up, but it's slowing down. I'm trying to get my attorney to do what needs to be done to move this case along, because we had a mediation. Agreements were made out of that mediation that we'll go back to court. We'll appoint a special referee, whoever that may be, and to define who are heirs and who are not heirs, and other things about the case dealing with HEIR property. Also, part of the agreement from the mediation was that the defendants will provide answers to my questions, or to my question as a plaintiff, and provide documentation, evidence. So I submitted to the board and the defendants that are pro se, meaning that they don't have an attorney. Not everyone, but just a few of them. Three of them to be exact. To answer the questions known as interrogatories and question for production of documents, evidence to prove that they are heirs to Washington James, Toby Cox, or whoever, and their mother. So I got the first response back, and so now they're claiming, and even the board did this too. Even the board, in the response to the complaint, in a signed affidavit, which is not really a response, it's just an affidavit. It says affidavit. I guess you're saying there is a response that they're testifying to the facts, but within that affidavit there is inconsistencies and half-truths, false narrative, false statements, false allegations. So it's not really, a response per se, but nonetheless, it's a response. So the board said that me and my mother have never lived on the property, and now, in this response to our questions known as interrogatories, one of the pro se defendants said the exact same thing, that me and my mother have never lived on the property. So I want to talk about that. I covered this before. I think it was like the myths of HEIR property, right? The facts, the truth, and the myths of the HEIR property. And one of being is that you as a owner of property has to have been born on the property or lived on the property to be an owner of the property, or in this case, be an heir to property. And that's not true. There is no law that says that. If there is, I want to see it. My lawyer has not explained to me that to be the case, that there is no law requiring a person to have been born on property, on land, or have lived on the land, have worked the land, to be owner of the property. If that's the case, then we'll never own this land. All these homes that are being built, to include the house that I have now, I cannot own it because, one, I was not born here in South Carolina. I was not born in this county. I was not born on the property. I didn't live on the property. My parents didn't live on the property. So how can I own it? That's not true. That is not true. That's the case, then all these wealthy people in the world will have never owned a property. Huh? Let's go back to the beginning of time when Christopher Columbus and the Pilgrims first came to this land called now America. The indigenous people lived here before us, so they would have rights to property. We would never own it. America would never be what it is today if that was the case. If that was the law of the land. It's not true. It's further from the truth. Especially you're dealing with heir property. There is no law that says that. The original owners of this property, my second great-grandfather, Washington James, my third great-grandfather, Toby Cox, and other men and women, their brothers and sisters, whoever they were, they purchased this property free and clear as ex-slaves. And it was passed on to their children without a will. So for people to say that, well, you, Mr. King, and your mother had never lived in the property, therefore you don't have no rights to property, that's a bunch of crap. That's false. And it's sad that people who, one, they don't have an attorney, I get that. But for those that do have an attorney, how can you say that? Like, do your research. Study the laws before you start putting things in writing, because now those are your words. And I had the right to present that to the court and said, look, Judge, they don't even know the rules and laws. They're incompetent. Their claims against me are bogus. But yet they say that my claims against them are baseless. No, I got facts. I got evidence to back it up. I got evidence to back up everything. Or otherwise I won't be doing this. But yeah, I mean, that's what they're saying. That me and my mother were never born. We're never born on the property. We're not born on the property, and we didn't live on the property. That's not true. That's not true. Even if it was true, it still doesn't confess that we're heirs, because we can trace our lineage back to the original owners of the property. That's the biggest thing that needs to come out, is that we can trace our lineage back to the original owner of property. Not just one original owner, but two. And that the individuals that I'm suing, named in this complaint, they had 3 opportunities, right? They had the one they filed in 2011, from 2011 to 2015, against my mother's brother and sister, my aunt and uncle, 2 of my grandmother's children, and our cousins. That was the first opportunity they had to provide evidence that they were heirs to property. How can you sue somebody and not provide evidence of who you are to the property? 2, when I sued them to acquire a title, they had opportunity there, and it's now known that they provided false statements under oath that they were heirs to property. They submitted documentation to the court saying that they were heirs to Washington James or another person of the property. So this third opportunity now, if they provide evidence that is not true, they're in a world of hurt. I'm not gonna let it slide. I let it slide the first time, or their second chance, because that was the first time I was involved in it. But I let it slide. I'm not letting it slide no more. My family's sick and tired of it. Members of my family have come to meetings and asked the question: is everybody in these meetings heirs to the property? Silence. You can hear a pin drop. And then when they get mad, they want to stand up and make hostile and threatening comments directed towards me and my family. I got it on video. So again, all this would be played out in court. It's just sad that it comes down to this, that people will rather not tell the truth, fabricate stories, create these false claims, these false narratives, right? I mean, it's going to come down to even them claiming to have lived on the property since 1998. But see, I got evidence that says that no, that's not true. That's not true. And people claiming to be heirs, like, what's crazy that part of the, I guess, a rule or argument is too that these individuals are trying to use the name James or Cox or another person who owned the property back then, say from 1884 to 1898, you know, trying to use their name as to say that, oh, we have the same last name, or trying to associate being an heir to property based on their family name. And you can't do that. You can't do that. That's illegal. I believe it's called fraud, but you know, I'm not a lawyer, so you know, I'm gonna do my research. I'm gonna ask questions and take notes. You know, I'm gonna figure things out. But hey, that's where we stand. That these individuals are not claiming that I have never lived on a property. I was not born on a property. Same with my mother. But yet, her parents, who were born in 1928 and 1929, respectively, lived on a property, or they're heirs to property because their mother, their grandfather, whoever was born on a property. I mean, Papa Jimmy, who is my grandfather's father, was born on this property. Him and his brother, he was born in 1888. And died in 1978 at the age of 90. And Papa Sim, who was my grandmother's grandfather, died in 1978, and he was 100 years old. So he was 10 years older than Papa Jimmy. And it's sad that my grandparents, as well as my great-grandparents, didn't live to tell a story. They tell a story, sure, to my mother and to my grandparents and to their other children, but tell a story as in getting in writing. Actually, no, take it back. Papa Sim did. Papa Sim told the story because he was in an article. Hey, all this needs to come out. All this needs to come to head that these individuals are not telling the truth. That they're claiming to be descendants of Washington James and Toby Cox. So now my family has to come forth and testify. The problem is too that I'm suing members of my family, my uncle and cousins, all because they made claims against me. Right? They called me a liar, accused me of committing fraud, accused me of submitting fraudulent documents to the court. What else? That as a manager that I spent money that didn't benefit the other heirs, and that's in paying a special referee, which was agreement that was made in court by their attorney. So the defendants in the case, their attorney made the statement, made the motion, or made the argument or request in court for the money to come out of the bank account. I didn't make that request. My lawyer didn't make that request. So again, this is I have the transcript to prove it. So anybody want to call me a liar, hey, let's do this in court. You know, and these are the same people who couldn't afford their attorney. They couldn't afford an attorney, and they can't afford one now because, right, they don't have an attorney. Huh? You know, aunt, uncle, cousins accusing me of doing so much, but yet their names are all over documents. Their names are on bank accounts. My name was never on the bank account. So how I commit fraud? How I spend money? How did I steal money? How are my claims baseless when there's evidence of who said what and who did what? And I'm the one that paid for the transcripts. They couldn't do it. They couldn't get it done. But I'm not an heir to property because my mother's still alive. It don't matter. My place is where my mother wants me to be. If my place is to be on the board and she wants me on the board, that's her right. Now, whether that's, you know, authorized, illegal, whatever, hey, again, that's why we're going to court. That's the case, then all those who are not heirs should never been in position to be on the boards and on committees and make decisions and sign contracts. Let's talk about it. Let's all put it on the table. Let's get to the truth. Stop this nonsense. I put out false information, lies out there, false narratives, false claims. Let's get to the truth of it all. Yeah, but so I'm getting with family to have a meeting within the next month after the new year, because we definitely need to start this next year off right. It's time for a family to come together and have conversations, have the discussion about, again, who are heirs, who are not heirs, the history of the land, the legal actions, how to move forward. It's time for us to be educated and mentored on the rules and laws, on the business practices, on how to maintain property, how to preserve and take property. All that needs to be said, and we can't do it if we're not having these meetings. You know, everybody's afraid to. I don't say afraid, but when it's time to talk and walk the walk, they don't want to do it. You know, me and my mother called meetings with the family, and they're up in arms. Why are we here? What's this meeting about? And then I started talking, so they got attitude. They want to avoid eye contact, or they want to look down, they want to look away, or they saying things at the side of their neck, being disrespectful, not fully listening and understanding, comprehending, making comments that my place is behind my mother. No, my place is not behind my mother. My place is where she wants me to be. If it's beside my mother, I'm going to be beside my mother. If it's in front of my mother, leading the pack, I'm going to do that. Not just me, it could be my sister. And if her family members had that same mindset, they can have their children leading the pack too. It could be me and their children as cousins, right? As their children leading the pack, leading the family to where we need to go. It's 2023, but it's about to be 2024, and we can't be stuck in the past because they had their time, and they're even if the time is now, they're messing it up. They're not cooperating with each other, not meeting with each other. They're not educating themselves on rules and laws. Like, members of the family didn't even want to have bylaws, or we don't need all these bylaws. We just need a simple set of rules. A simple set of rules to do what? How you want a simple set of rules when you don't even follow the rules you got now, or you wouldn't follow a court order, but yet you were taken to court over false claims against you, and you didn't even fight the claims. You went along with it. Your attorney, the attorney that was hired to represent my family, didn't even do his job to fight the claims, to prove the claims were false. He didn't even do it. He presented no evidence during trial. I'm not going to be that foolish. I'm not going to make that mistake. Enough is enough. I've had enough of the nonsense, the lies, the false allegations, the attitude. I mean, it's come down to even asking a question like, why are you putting up private property signs? Why are you doing this? Because so we can keep you and people like you away from us. First of all, it's not your home. It's not your land. To put up a private property sign, it means that you own the land. You don't own this land. So all this land that's undeveloped behind you, this is private property. It's part of this housing division. But if this was the heir property, and I'm an heir, I have the right to walk this land, and no one can stop me. All these homes that are behind me here, right there, all these homes behind here, if that was all my family's homes, they can't stop me from walking this land. If this was the heir property. Just like now, I'm living in this community, I have the right to walk these streets. I broke no crimes, I broke no laws, I committed no crimes. They can't stop me. Same thing with heir property. Same with heir property. But yet you got people that live on the property are allowing people to come there and do whatever they want to do. Like they're not even heirs to the property. Their friends or whoever they knew from back in school and sitting there doing what they want to do. I won't get into what I'm talking about, but you know, not everything is on the up and up. Not everything is legit that they're doing. But yet, I'm wrong for taking people to court. It has to be resolved. The court said it back in 2011, 2015. The court told those individuals that were parties in the case what needed to be done. And they didn't want to do it. They didn't want to follow the rules or follow the laws. They wanted to make sure precautions. Because I have the meetings, went to meetings where my late grandmother said, everybody must prove that y'all heir the property. They didn't want to do it. They brushed her off. They discounted my grandmother. They ignored my grandmother in her statements. But yet, another elderly lady can stand up and says, well, let's forget about who's who and what's what and come together. Oh, that's okay. But my grandma stands up and says, no. everybody must prove that y'all heirs to property. First of all, they don't want to hear that. Why is that? It's because they know that everybody's not heirs. And that they don't want the cat out of the bag. They don't want to be exposed. But yeah, these are the same individuals who took my family to court. So you started this legal fight. They started that legal fight. They started going down that path. They opened Pandora's box. They opened up the skeletons that were in the closet. They exposed the skeletons that were in the closet. I think a person dumping something. But anyways, people come back here and they trying to dump stuff back in the woods back there. As you can see that car. Anyways, yeah, they exposed the skeleton in the closet. And now that I exposed them, they want to try to cover it up, right? Their mindset is like, we ain't bothering nobody. Why can't we just be here and live? Blah 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 blah. We want a safe place for our mother to live. Okay, she had a place to stay. And people making this stuff up, and they don't want to follow rules and follow laws, and think that because of who they are or whatever case may be, that they have rights to the property. You don't have rights to the property. Everybody has a sense of self-entitlement because of who they are or who they claim to be, but don't want to follow rules and follow laws. But anyways, so that's that. I'm gonna wrap it up. Head back to the house, finish my walk. I thank you for watching and tuning in. Like, share this video, leave a comment. And next time, take care, peace.